Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is the 6th of June, now it's 15 past 11 in the morning Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update today, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late in the afternoon on my Patreon page, and on Patreon I will share additional news that will be reported by Russian media, and also I will share short video footage that I made yesterday afternoon here in Vladikavkaz, capital of North Ossetia Alania Autonomous Republic of Russian Federation, where I am guesting for summer time. I hope Patreon subscribers will find the update interesting. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and of course I'm gonna start with the Ukrainian special military operation, and the main topic right now is about situation in Kherson region, more precisely in direction of Novaya Kakhovka, where during the previous night Kakhovka hydroelectric plant was destroyed, and as a result water level now is rising very sharply in the Dnieper river, and some settlements already are flooded. I did share video footage of this hydroelectric plant on my Patreon, on my Telegram page. You can see here damage is quite extensive, and right now nothing can be done to stop water from Kakhovka reservoir to flood Kherson region. So you can see this video and additional information about current situation on my Telegram page. I will share right now latest news, and we have RIA Novosti's report, according to which water level in Kherson region and in Novaya Kakhovka precisely, particularly, will rise at least for next 72 hours. As you can see, this picture here is from Novaya Kakhovka, and first floors are already underwater in some districts of this city. So next 72 hours water level will increase, and then situation will become more or less stable, and we will see decrease of level of the Dnieper river. Even here you can see area of Kakhovka hydroelectric plant, which is basically entirely destroyed. Even dam was partially damaged, but what happened is that, according to Russian side, during the previous night, Zelensky's regime did conduct strikes on Kakhovka hydroelectric plant, and during these strikes one of the gates on this power plant was damaged, and then under pressure entire construction just failed and break down. As a result, we are seeing now that water from huge Kakhovka reservoir, and let me show you this on the map. This is, by the way, Kakhovka water reservoir, and water from here are regulated with the, or used to be regulated by Kakhovka dam and Kakhovka hydroelectric power station here, which is right next to Novaya Kakhovka settlement city. And now when these gates here on Energo station are basically almost completely destroyed, nothing can be done to stop water flow. Nothing can be done to deal with this water flow. And even in this pro-Ukrainian map, you can see now that alert has been flooding alert has been issued all along Dnieper river, and as I said, Russian side is blaming Zelensky's regime for this attack, but Zelensky's regime is blaming Russian side, that it was Russians that did blow up these gates on the hydroelectric plant. But anyway, situation is extremely dramatic and serious, and according to reports that we are getting from Russian media, 14 settlements, at least for now, 14 settlements are under danger of flooding, and evacuation has begun on left bank of the Kherson region, which is under control of Russian side. Probably evacuation will take place on the right bank of Kherson region also, which is controlled by Zelensky's regime. Unfortunately, Western elites, some representatives of Western elites, were too quick to make statements about current situation, and they also blame Russia without any investigation, without anything really. They just straight away blame Russia for destroying this hydroelectric power plant, when it's well known that Zelensky's regime was trying to destroy this power plant for many months now. I'm not gonna say it for which side was involved in destruction of this power plant, because I don't have information. I can only analyze data that we are getting from open sources. But in whatever case, situation in Kherson region is extremely serious, and I hope civilians will be evacuated and there will be no casualties on the ground. Of course, during the day I will share with you additional information about situation developments in Kherson region. Let me continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report about yesterday's attempt of Zelensky's regime to conduct local scale offensive or counteroffensive operations in the direction of Azov Sea on this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia, and as you know, main events did take place around this bridgehead that Russia has under its control between Ugledar city here and Guliai-Pole. And according to latest news, Russian forces, even though this pro-Ukrainian map is not acknowledging this, according to latest news, Russian forces did also conduct counteroffensive operations, and they did manage to return control over this settlement here, Novodarovka, and also over the settlement Niskuchная here. And there are different reports from many media outlets and independent sources in internet about situation around Novodonetsk here. According to this pro-Ukrainian map, this settlement is under Russian control, but some Ukrainian sources are reporting that, and even some Russian Telegram channels did report that this settlement is under control of Zelensky's regime. But for now it's hard to tell who exactly controlling this settlement, and this was the main direction of yesterday's counteroffensive operations of Zelensky's regime. And we have statement from Russian Defense Ministry, according to which during the previous 24 hours Zelensky's regime lost up to 1,500 soldiers killed and wounded, also 28 main battle tanks, among them 8 Leopard MBTs, also 3 IMX-10 wheeled tanks that was delivered to Zelensky's regime by France, and 109 other armored vehicles. So you know my take on this entire offensive movements of Zelensky's regime. I did say in yesterday's update that by analyzing information from open sources, this local scale counteroffensive of Zelensky's regime was a catastrophic failure on behalf of Kiev regime, because they had immense losses on the first day of activization, which was 4th of June. But yesterday, Zelensky's regime had even bigger casualties, even bigger losses. So they definitely cannot sustain this level of casualties in manpower, and they definitely cannot sustain this level of losses when it comes to military equipment. 28 tanks is almost 2 tank battalions, and 109 armored vehicles. Well, it's additional 2 or 3 battalions. So it's clearly becoming obvious now that Zelensky's regime already did fail with its counteroffensive, local scale counteroffensive in direction of this land bridge between Crimea and mainland Russia. And I guess during the day today we will see some additional video footage from Russian Defense Ministry about destruction of Ukrainian units and Ukrainian military equipment on the front line, on Zaporozhye region. Immense casualties, and to be honest, I'm not even sure that Zelensky's regime will continue with these counteroffensives, because, as I said, from my point of view, this kind of operation will be suicidal for Zelensky's regime, and I'm standing on my position. And now we are clearly seeing that they have no chance to achieve just any success whatsoever, any more or less significant success whatsoever. And maybe someone in Kiev will realize that they will lose last reserves that they have if they will continue with this local scale offensive operations in direction of Azov Sea, and maybe they will stop. But yet again, we should always take in account this immense pressure from Washington and London on the Zelensky regime to conduct offensive operations. And I did explain in one of the previous updates my take on why Western elites are so keen to push Zelensky's regime towards this suicidal counteroffensive. So yes, situation for Zelensky regime is extremely difficult on the front line, especially in Zaporozhye region. And today, for example, we don't have any additional information that Ukrainian armed forces are conducting any offensive movements on Zaporozhye direction. Maybe something will change during the day, but for now it's obvious that attempt of Ukrainian armed forces to establish control over this bridgehead between Russian bridgehead between Ugledar and Guliai-Pole, this attempt did fail catastrophically. And by the way, many military experts were making informed guesses or predictions that main direction of this local scale Ukrainian offensives will be not from Ugledar region, but from region of Orekhova and Guliai-Pole to attack Tokmak and Pologi. But for now, we don't see any offensive movements of Zelensky's regime from these areas, and maybe there will be no activization of Ukrainian forces because of this catastrophic failure on Ugledar direction. Catastrophic failure for Ukrainian armed forces. let's see, let's wait and see. In coming days, situation will probably become a little bit more clear. And after all, everything depends on will of Washington and London. Will they stop pressurizing or stop their pressure on Zelensky's regime to conduct offensive or not? So it all depends on the position of Washington and London. And by the way, this is also extremely important information that we are getting from Russian media, which is about statements that Russian FSB security service did made today. And according to this is TASS news agency's report, and according to this information, Zelensky's regime, particularly military intelligence of Ukrainian armed forces, were planning to conduct terrorist acts on Russian soil with dirty bombs. And dirty bomb, when this terminology is used about explosive material with radioactive elements. And according to FSB, in military intelligence of Ukraine was a special unit was created which will conduct such operation on Russian soil. 2 planes were even sent to Russia, and the pilots of those planes were detained, and FSB did publish video footage where pilots are talking about their mission, and you can clearly see that one of the pilots, for example, are openly saying that one of the Ukrainian pilots are openly saying that he is from Ukrainian military intelligence, and they had discussed and they had plans to conduct terrorist activity on Russian territory with the use of dirty bombs. So very serious development, and very dangerous. Because if anything like this will happen on Russian soil, if Zelensky's regime will manage to blow up the dirty bomb on Russian territory, then gloves are off. Russian response will be extremely devastating for Zelensky's regime and for Ukraine. Extremely devastating, because this is definitely a red line which cannot be crossed. During the day and in coming days, Russian side will probably share with public additional information, and of course I will inform you about it, and I will publish all additional information on my Telegram page also. Let's continue now, and this is RIA Novosti's report about statement that Denis Pushilin made, head of Donetsk People's Republic, according to which Russian side has significant success in direction of Marinka, as I was predicting yesterday and day before. So this is Marinka, by the way. We all understand this pro-Ukrainian map not gonna acknowledge any Russian success in any direction, really. But according to Russian side, Russian sources, almost entire Marinka, entirely this town is under Russian control now. Only few blocks are left to be liberated from Zelensky's regime, and I guess it will take only day or two, and maybe before end of this week Marinka will be under full Russian control. And situation is very intense in direction of Avdiivka. Also, even though Russian side, at least for now, as I understand, did stop conducting offensive, large-scale offensive movements to encircle this town. You know my take on this situation. Maybe Russian armed forces will still trying to use Avdiivka as a kind of trap for Ukrainian armed forces to deal with them one by one, but I'm not sure it will work, because at least someone in Kiev should learn something from Artyomovsk, from history of Artyomovsk, where Bakhmut, which is Bakhmut, where Russian side was for many months using this settlement as a kind of magnet or trap, where Zelensky's regime was sending units after units, and as a result of this incredibly inadequate actions of Zelensky's regime, PMC Wagner units were able to neutralize at least 30 to 50,000 Ukrainian soldiers, which is unbelievable, number, really. Let me continue now, and we have statement from Belgorod region, head of Belgorod region, Vyacheslav Gladkov, who said that during the previous 24 hours, Belgorod region was shelled. In direction of Belgorod region, Zelensky's regime did launch about 650 shells and missiles. So situation is truly difficult in Belgorod region, and Zelensky's regime is on daily basis shelling this area. And by the way, as I said many times before, before Russian side will establish control over this bridgehead that Zelensky's regime has right next to Belgorod region, these shellings will continue. And more than that, as long as Kharkov region entirely are not under full Russian control, shellings of Belgorod region will probably continue. And that's why I'm quite sure Russian general staff probably are working on some plans to re-establish control over the Kharkov region, which will definitely happen. It's only a matter of time. Let me continue. And this is TASS News Agency's report about statements that was made by head of Ministry of Defense of Germany, Boris Pistorius, who said that after become known or clear that Zelensky's regime was using Western-made equipment to conduct its activity on Russian soil in Belgorod region, Germany may rethink its attitude towards weapons deliveries. I mean, Pistorius did made quite a few statements that were contradicting each other. At one hand, he is all for support of Zelensky's regime, and in the other hand, he is saying that they will reconsider their approach to weapons deliveries, and he basically openly said that Germany will not deliver to Zelensky's regime, for example, long-range Taurus missiles that Zelensky's regime was asking for. So basically, we are seeing now that NATO member states, one by one, are trying to distance themselves from any involvement with these attacks on Belgorod region. They do understand that this is not just a red line, but this is actions that cannot be forgiven ever by Russian side, and they know today, tomorrow, in 10 years' time, but Russia will make sure that Germany, Belgium, and all the other states that are acting against Russia will pay for the criminal actions now. And I guess that's why we are seeing now this kind of domino effect in NATO member states, when they one by one are trying to distance themselves from this kind of terrorist activity of Zelensky's regime on Russian soil with active use of Western weapons. And question is, I mean, we all understand this is kind of game. They are working on damage control now, but simple question is rising. What these Western elites were thinking when they were delivering to Zelensky's regime these weapons on tens and hundreds of billions or billions of dollars. That Zelensky's regime gonna put these weapons in museums or what? So this kind of attempts from Western elites or from elites of some Western states to somehow distance themselves from direct involvement in or direct confrontation with Russia. It's just, these attempts are doomed to fail, really. And just remember my words, man. Time will come. I don't know when. In 5, 10, 15 years time. And states that are involved in conflict with Russia will pay heavy price for actions of their criminal elites right now. That's how it will be. And that's why I am sad that and don't understand why Western societies are so passive. Do they really think that their elites can use their countries against Russia and there will be no consequences for it? I mean, do majority in Western states truly believe that they can kill Russians without consequences? They cannot. But unfortunately, vast majority of society in the West are very passive. It seems like they don't even care. And I guess they will be very much surprised when they will end up before consequences. They will probably start asking why, what they did wrong, why they should pay. Unbelievable. Let me continue now, and RIA Novosti is reporting that in Kyrgyzstan, former Soviet Republic, some 30 people were detained by secret service and security services of this republic. This is Central Asia, by the way. And according to RIA Novosti, these people have been charged with conspiracy to conduct regime change in Kyrgyzstan. And according to information that we have, about 100 people on different, some of them with serious positions in Kyrgyzstan, were about 100 people were involved in this conspiracy. And well, let's see how situation will develop, but at this moment picture is not really clear who was behind this entire operation, because Kyrgyzstan itself for last many years are acting very strangely, let's say, because almost every few years we are seeing some kind of regime change in this republic. And I guess we are witnessing fight for influence in Kyrgyzstan, not between Russia, for example, and the West, but between China and the West. Russia will, Russia's interest is to have a good relation with Kyrgyzstan, whoever is in power there. But I guess all this internal turmoil in Kyrgyzstan has everything to do with geopolitical confrontation or regional confrontation between China and Western elites, because of course this region is extremely important for Russia and for China also. And China, I guess, keen to have a serious influence over the Central Asia. After all, this well-known trade route from China to West are passing through Central Asia. So let me continue a few more informations about some economical stuff. RT is reporting that Indian imports of Russian oil hit a new record in May in previous months, and according to that data, on daily basis India was importing about 2 million barrels of crude oil from Russia, which is more than the next 3 countries that India is importing from this oil combined. So, well, because Russia is selling its oil under discount, I guess Indian companies find it extremely attractive to purchase Russian oil and then resell it to the third party, or use its refinery capacities and sell not oil itself but oil production, oil products, and gain even more money on it, even more profit. So it's a win-win situation for Russia and India. Both countries are benefiting, so it's all good. And I guess despite Western attempts to pressure India, to pressure India and distance this country from Russia, at least for now, these attempts of Western elites are failing, which is good for India and good for Russia. Next information is about unemployment rate in Russia, and yet again this is RT is reporting that unemployment level is dropped to record low of 3.3% in April, according to Deputy Prime Minister for Social Policy Tatiana Golikova. So yes, 3.3% of unemployment rate is truly quite low, and this information clearly indicates that Russian economy, despite some difficulties because of this Western pressure, are coping with the obstacles that was created artificially by Western elites, and even manages to grow. And as a result, unemployment rate is extremely low. And there are some segments in Russian economy that basically you can see there are some clear indications that some sectors are even lack employees. So there is need for a workforce. So yeah, one more indicator that Russian economy is doing more or less okay. Especially if you consider all that pressure from Western elites. And this is gonna be last news for today's first update. Russian railways made an announcement that they will increase their work to build a high-speed rail network, and in coming years they are planning to build high-speed railroad systems in direction of 3 major cities in Russia from Moscow. One will be in direction of St. Petersburg, second in direction of Kazan and capital of Tatarstan Autonomous Republic, and second in direction of Rostov-on-Don, which is the southern part of Russian Federation. Good news. I hope from Rostov this high-speed railway will continue and reach Vladikavkaz in northern Caucasus, because it does makes a lot of sense really to do so, because of the strategic location of North Ossetia, Alania. So yes, once again, even this information does indicates, at least partially, that Russian economy is doing well, and need in high-speed railway network and investments in this network clearly highlights it. So yes, let me now update these news agencies. Maybe some additional information was published. So we have information that the evacuation has begun in Novaya Kakhovka because of destruction of Kakhovka hydroelectric plant. And here, any additional news? Okay, not extremely important additional news for this moment. All the main news I did share in this update. So this is it then for now. Of course, during the day I will share all the additional information on my Telegram page, and later on in the afternoon I will share also additional information that will be reported by Russian media on my Patreon page. This is it for now. I hope you will find this video interesting, and if so, please hit that like button, leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos or my channel with your friends, or on Telegram, or Twitter, Facebook, or any other platform that you are active on. That will probably greatly help me to reach wider audience. And if you think this channel is interesting, informative, useful, and deserves to exist, please consider to support with small donations through PayPal, buy me coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. This is it for now. Have a great day and take care.